Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mike. You guys are rocking with me and Mike's Intellectual Corner. In today's episode, we are diving back into some Alexander the Great. This is the greatest speech in history, the Alexander the Great and the Opis Mutiny. Without further ado, we're just going to dive right into it like always. Let's go. In a brilliant 10-year campaign, Alexander is Macedonian only conquered much of Yeah, so pretty much, obviously, as we know from the videos that we've watched before on this channel, by the time that they've already at the Opis, or at the river, you know what I'm saying, they've already conquered damn near 80 to 90% of the Persian Empire. They haven't seen their families in, I think, over 8 years by this time, and Alexander the Great is, well set into going further and further into India and conquering pretty much all the way into essentially whereas modern day Bangladesh, and where they perceive as the end of the edge of the world and stuff like that, where in reality, his army was, they already were hearing rumors of massive armies and all this stuff awaiting for them in India, in which, they knew that they were probably going to get crushed and slaughtered, and, that's it for home, you know what I'm saying? And in reality, that's pretty much exactly what most likely would have happened, as, the Nanda Empire in India would most likely have been their next great battle. And if I'm not mistaken, that empire stretched from all the way, essentially, from Pakistan all the way into modern day Bangladesh. So it was pretty huge. So you definitely know that there would have been some pretty crazy stuff on the other side of that. But let's go ahead and see.
What I'm about to say isn't meant to stop you returning home. As far as I care, you can go wherever you wish. But I want you to know how you have behaved towards me, and how I have treated you. I'll begin, as is right, with my father, Philip. When he found you, you were mere peasants, wearing hides, tending a few sheep on the mountain slopes, and you could barely defend them from your neighbors. Under him, you began living in cities, with good laws and customs, and he turned you from slaves into rulers over those very barbarians who used to plunder your land.
Another thing too with with how they were feeling towards Alexander is the fact that Alexander was, indulging in the Persian decadencies and stuff like that. Like he was wanting them to, or he was dressing like the Persians. He was indulging in their different customs and stuff like that. He was marrying off to their women's, just stuff like that. And the ultimate disrespect, and the fact that he wanted his Greek men to, I forgot what it was called, but pretty much lay down on the ground, and lay towards him, facing towards him, essentially, in the ultimate sign of respect, only, preserved for gods and stuff like that. That's what he wanted them to do for him. And so, I mean, obviously, to this point, like, yes, we understand that, you drug us from the pits of darkness, essentially farming and all that stuff, but at the same time, you're kind of losing your ways, and that's where this is all stemming from. But let's keep going.
You from slaves into rulers over those very barbarians who used to plunder your land. He conquered most of Thrace, taking the best harbors so there was trade and prosperity, and put the mines to steady work. The Thessalians, they used to terrify you. Well, we rule them now. The Athenians and Thebans, always looking for a chance to attack Macedonia, were so humbled, myself playing my small part in the war, that they no longer take tribute from Macedonia, but instead depend upon us for their protection. My father went to the Peloponnese and put their house in order. Then he was declared supreme commander of all the Greeks for the campaign against the Persians. An honor not just for himself, but for all Macedonians. This is what my father Philip did for you. Great enough on its own, but small compared to what you've gained from me. I crossed the Hellespont, even though back then the Persians still commanded the sea. I defeated the satraps of the great King Darius, and made you rulers of Ionia, Aeolis, Phrygia, and Lydia, and took Miletus by siege. The rest of the land surrendered willingly, and their wealth became yours. All the riches of Egypt and Cyrene, which I won without a fight, are yours now. Syria, Palestine, Mesopotamia, Babylonia, all belong to you. The wealth of Lydia, the treasures of Persia, the jewels of India and the Outer Sea. You are now satraps. You are generals and captains. What have I held back for myself apart from this purple cloak and diadem? Nothing. No man can point to my riches, only the things I hold in trust for you all. And what would I do with them anyway? I eat what you eat. I get no more rest than you. Many times I have spent the night on watch, so that you could sleep soundly.
And I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot of that sounds like so super small and stuff like that, but speaking as somebody who's in the military, even something that's so small, as a leader taking, watch in the middle of the night when it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and all you want to do is sleep, and then you see, your leader say to you, go back to sleep, I got it, and you just see him up there for the rest of the night. I've done that for my soldiers, and I've seen my a leader do that for me. It really speaks to you, and it does something. It lets you know that that leader views you more than just a number or a rifle. He views you as somebody to actually care for and stuff like that. So I can definitely see where he's going with this. But let's keep going.
Spent the night on watch so that you could sleep soundly. Who among you believes he's worked harder for me than I have for him? Come on! If you've got scars, strip and show them to me. I'll show you mine. There isn't one part of my body, the front at least, that doesn't bear a wound. My body's covered in scars from every weapon you can think of. Swords, arrows, stones, clubs. All for the sake of your lives, your glory, and your wealth. And yet here I still am, leading you, as conqueror of land and sea, rivers, mountains, and the plains. We've celebrated our weddings together. Many of your children will be cousins of my own. I've paid off your debts without asking how you got them, even though you're paid well enough and pillage every city we take. Many of you wear golden crowns, badges of courage and honor given you by me. Any one of us who was killed, who met a glorious end, we buried with full honors. Many now stand immortalized by bronze statues in Macedonia. Their families are honored and pay no taxes. Under my command, not one man has been killed fleeing the
Yeah, I
enemy.
can tell you right now, that alone, for his speech right there alone, he can stop it right there, and they're all going to come flying to him, because that is really, really, it's such an understatement how rare it is to really find that great leader who is really just one of you guys. Like, he doesn't see himself as any higher than anyone else. Whenever one person has to get in the dirt, he's right there, right along with them, making sure that the work gets done, so that everyone gets to go home at the same time. It's all this stuff. So yeah, I can definitely see why he was such a great leader, and I would definitely personally fight under him myself personally, and just from what I know as a quote unquote super heavy quote unquote historian, I can definitely say I would definitely fight under him and with him. But yeah,
taxes. Under my command, not one man has been killed fleeing the enemy. And now, I wanted to send back some of you who've been wounded or crippled, or have grown old, to be welcomed back home as heroes. But since you all wish to go, then all of you, go! Go home and tell them that your king, Alexander, conqueror of the Persians, Medes, Bactrians, and Scythians, who now rules over the Parthians, Chorasmians, and Hyrcanians as far as the Caspian Sea, who's marched over the mountains of the Hindu Kush, crossed the Oxus and Tanais rivers, even the Indus, first to cross it since Dionysus himself. I would have crossed the Hyphasis too if you hadn't cowered in fear. Who sailed into the Great Sea from the mouth of the Indus. Who crossed the desert of Gadrosia, where no one had ever led an army. Who took Carmenia, while my fleet sailed the Persian Gulf. When you get home, you tell them that when you made it back to Susa, you abandoned him and went home, leaving him under the protection of the foreigners you'd conquered. Perhaps this report of yours will seem glorious in the eyes of men, and worthy in the eyes of the gods. Be gone!
I would actually love to see what was said during the revolt right after the mass wedding. I can't remember which revolt that was called, but it's the one literally right after that huge mass wedding when he was already back in the main Persian area. I'd love to see what he actually said then too, because obviously it would have to probably be on around the same words, I'm guessing, as this, but still, like, what I'm saying, any leader, any military leader, especially in today's world where, what I'm saying, a lot of military leaders and leaders in general just kind of sit behind a desk and lead from, what I'm saying, eating a donut. And so, what I'm saying, to see someone like that, and what I'm saying, to know that they were right there with you and they suffered right there along with you, what I'm saying, the camaraderie that comes along with all that, yeah, you can't tell me, what I'm saying, he wasn't one of the best leaders that, what I'm saying, the world had. So let's keep going.
Thank you to all the Patreon supporters who helped create this video.
But yeah, just one of those things. But in any case, so thank you guys again for joining me on another episode of Mike's Intellectual Corner. If you guys like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys when I see you. I'm out.